We're talking about Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book in the Throne of Glass series. And it is just as good, if not better, than the first. It like really draws you in. But we'll get into ratings in a bit. Shall we start with the synopsis?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, I'll do it because I just read this. I think I was the most recent person to read it. You guys were both ahead of me.
Because
Yeah.
you're the slowest.
Yeah, I am slow. So at the end of Throne of Glass, which if you haven't read that book or seen our YouTube video on it, definitely go and watch that first. But at the end of Throne of Glass, Celeanas wins the competition that the king has held to be his king's champion. And so now at the beginning of this book, she is now like started in this role and is being assigned people from the king to kill, to assassinate. So she's starting to take on this new role, and she starts to realize or like notice some of the targets that she's been assigned. And so that's one of the first kind of hurdles, if you will. And as the book kind of goes down that path, it also intertwines with her relationship with Kale. And so now there's another dynamic because she's in this kind of like secret relationship with Kale, and they're trying to make that work as like he's, you know, head of the guard and she's the assassin. But then there's also the aspect that Dorian, she was with him in the previous book, but then kind of ended things, and how that's kind of intertwined because they're all friends as well. Overall, she's taking on this new role. She's got this love interest, and they also start to introduce a ton of new characters who play pivotal roles throughout the entire Crown of Midnight and Throne of Glass series overall. Ratings. I'll go first. I would rate Crown of Midnight specifically probably an A minus. I think it was still building up the story, but it was more enticing than the first book. The first book felt a little more like Hunger Games, whereas this one is diving in and making it its own unique story. And it was obviously Sarah J. Maas writing. Like, it's captivating. You don't want to put down. This chapters are short. You love the characters. Well, most of them, but A minus.
Mm-hmm.
Andrea, what's your rating?
I would rate it an A. I didn't rate it an A plus because it was not my favorite book in the series. Like Madeline said, it's still, I didn't become obsessed with it like I did the like ones after it.
Mm-hmm.
But I really wanted to read more after this one. The first one, yeah, it was mostly about the competition. So it was whatever, you know, it was interesting. You gotta learn kind of like you could kind of predict what you thought was gonna happen, and it was like world setting, whatever. But then this one got more into like the real story that goes throughout the rest of the books. So I got kind of hooked with this one. So, A.
I did this one. It was really close between an A and A minus, but I'm going to go with an A minus. And it was like the same thing you guys said. Like, it was a good book. I liked it better than like the one before, Throne of Glass. But I wasn't at the point yet where I like couldn't put it down and finish the book in 2 days. Like, it wasn't that type of book for me. It was, this is good, but it's not like, I'm not obsessed. So.
It was definitely necessary to build up the characters. And I think it's more enlightening to rate this book now having read the third and fourth, because you see why it's so important that you like the things you learn about here. But when you're reading it, you don't understand the importance.
The other reason mine got an A minus is because Kale's in this one too much and I hate him. He's a whiny little bitch. Like, if she would have cut him out of the book, then I would give it an A.
That's fair.
If he died in the book, I would have given it an A plus.
What's this? Hates Kale.
Do you feel like he's like a wet blanket? Like,
yeah, all the time. Like a stick in the mud. And every single
very
decision he makes, I'm like, why the hell how did you come to that decision? Like, we all have the same information and you make the dumbest decisions.
I will
I don't
say
get
there's
it.
one defining moment in this book that I liked him for. I'll tell you the spoilers because
There's no moment.
you're gonna agree with me, Liz. You will.
All right, we'll see. We'll
I
see.
thought he was like real judgy too of Selena.
Yeah.
Like
And
the whole
Dorian
time
at
I'm
the
like,
end.
yeah, I'm like, why is he so judgy? He's very contradicting himself like most of the time. I'm
He's
like,
totally hypocritical.
yes, maybe that's the better. I'm like,
No.
he's just kind of picking and choosing what he wants to do.
No.
Let's get into spoilers so we can talk shit because I want
All
to.
right, let's do it.
Spoiler time. Anyway, spoilers. Okay. I thought his redeeming moment was when Kale ran in to save Fleetfoot.
Okay, yeah. I'm a sucker for the dog.
I know. I was worried he was gonna die.
And then he ruined it moments later when they're in the different world and Elaine. Why do I keep calling her Elaine? Aelin comes in. I hate it. I did this earlier. But then she turns into like a fae in the other world, right? And he like judges. I can't look at her the same again.
No.
Like, I'm like, what? Why does it bother you so much? It was weird.
Yeah, he's very judgy.
Mm-hmm.
Of,
And then he was weird about Dorian having magic too.
He very much tiptoed the line, or I think he was confused himself on like part of him I think supported the king's notion to keep magic away. Like if I can't have magic, then why should they? And like
yeah, because
safer.
he kept saying like if magic came back, there should be a way to control Selenia.
Mm-hmm. I know. So yeah, I was not a huge fan of Kale through this book. I was surprised that Dorian had powers because I don't know how magic lineage works. Wish it did. Real thing. But the fact that like both of his parents didn't seem to, I didn't really get that, and I didn't expect him to have it. But especially when you find out that he has raw magic, like it's nothing. That's not a huge. That's in this book, right?
Yeah.
The fact that it's like kind of a unique one at that he has the gift of, and I wasn't expecting it.
That one surprised me too.
I thought he was going to do something, but I didn't know it would be that.
Mm-hmm. But that brings me back to my original thought of not thinking that the king was his dad. That's my original hypothesis. And so maybe, I still don't know. Maybe it is someone else's child. Andrea's grinning like she knows something.
I know something, but I've read them all, so I can't tell you. But I'm very interested to see your reaction when you find out. It's totally not going to be what you think. Like, there's no way to predict this.
Typical Sarah J. Maas style.
Yeah. I also thought Fleetfoot was going to do something. Like, they led up to, I just thought for some reason this dog was going to become more of a character.
I thought it was going to be some kind of like secret magical creature, like Fleetfoot turns into a dragon or something.
Yeah.
Or
I
like
really
the little fae, like not fae, but like the little things in the woods.
I want to know more about them. They seem so like cute and sneaky.
Yeah, I like them.
They play a bigger role too. Like so many.
You're killing me with these.
I need to.
So many things happen.
I feel like I just need to end this YouTube video so I can go finish the book.
Right. What else? I took some notes. Let me see what else I had. I feel like there was like a couple other things that. Okay.
Well, the biggest.
Can we talk about?
Oh, go ahead.
I want to talk about the ending with Kale deciding to send Celeanas / Aelin away without asking her or talking to her first, and never telling Dorian why he did it. Like, why does Kale think that he gets to make this decision about like Celeanas like safety and future without involving her?
Liz, they were dating.
So he controls her life. It's gross and it's weird.
I know. I didn't expect her to go to Wendolyn at the end of this book, or for them to reveal the Aelin. I even was texting Anne halfway through this book. I did not think she was Aelin because she acted just so confused, like by Archer mentioning that Aelin, like I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Was alive and like was leading this rebellion or like gathering troops, and I was like, well, if Aelin's doing this and Archer's following, it can't be Celeana because like she's not doing that. She's the king's assassin right now, and I was shocked. I thought it was like before I read Crown of Midnight, I thought that might be it, but then I read the beginning of Crown of Midnight, and I was like, oh, it can't be.
Did you think that because of the fan fiction though? Or the fan art? Because that's what tipped me off. I look at fan art too much on Instagram.
So I was really confused because I was like, okay, Celeana isn't on Instagram, but this Aelin chick is.
She's everywhere, right?
And like Kale's not on Instagram, but Rowan is. Like, who are these people?
Yeah. Who's this cute blonde with the face tattoo? Who we still haven't met in this book, by the way, but if you look at fan art, you'll see a cute blonde with a face tattoo.
I don't think that's a spoiler.
No. I mean, it's on Instagram. I don't think it matters. He's all over Instagram.
Nah. Instagram loves him.
No, I didn't say anything about him. He's just a character we meet. That looks very pretty on Instagram.
Very pretty, like for cartoons. I'm like,
I was gonna say he's like more Madeline's type than mine, but I can appreciate him still.
Probably. I don't know about the white hair, but I mean, he pulled it off. It looks good on his graphic cartoon body.
Okay, can we talk about the sad part too? Nehemia? How do you say her name?
Nehemia?
Yeah.
Nehemia? Her death was super sad.
It was hard, but it's kind of one of those points where I felt like it was necessary to spark Aelin to become, take the situation more seriously or become more involved.
Yeah. Or like take her role on like she was supposed to.
Mm-hmm. It was like a defining moment, like in her like character story. Again, what about Kale? Knowing that Nehemia was going to get interrogated, he's friends with her.
I kind of felt bad for Kale for that reason because Nehemia lied to Aelin and so did Kale. But Kale's the one, I guess the other girl died, but Kale's the one who just like, she tried to murder him. Like, I thought that was a bit dramatic. Like, they both lied to her. Like,
yes.
Well, he didn't know she was going to get murdered. Like, he didn't know that. He just was like, oh, they're going to question her. I don't think he thought anything of it.
It would be a hard line to toe with, like, being the head of the guard and the king giving you orders and knowing that you shouldn't tell, like, her best friend about it.
And I just think he didn't think she was going to be in danger. And then he tries to murder him on his birthday. Like, the only good birthday he's ever had, apparently. I did feel bad for him in that scene. That was the scene. Yeah, she overreacted because I remember we were texting about that too. We were like, okay, that seems a little bit like crazy. The other crazy part though is like they're at his birthday and she finds out and she outruns him and he's on a horse. So that's when you're like, you have to know that.
Have you seen I think it's like, oh my gosh, The Exorcism, where like that lady like crawls. You know? That's how I picture her running to say.
Yeah. And just
what about Pony's face? Do you think she just like remember Pony's face? Yeah. That's not what it was called. That was big, right? People who dress up like horses and ponies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, and then he gets back and he's like telling, I think, Dorian about it. And he's like, she was running faster than the horse. And I was like, oh my God.
How did he? Yeah, I agree with you. She took it too far. She overreacted for sure when she tried to kill Kale. That was weird.
Murdering him, like seriously, just because he didn't tell you one little thing that he didn't even really know. I was like, oh my God, dramatic.
He was still in the wrong, but she like 100% overreacted.
Yeah.
I also thought the promise to her at her grave to like free LOA or whatnot was a bit dramatic too. Like, you've got a lot on your plate, and it was a nice gesture, but like, why add that as well?
It was a lot, and like with like slitting her like hand. Didn't she cut her hand too? And put, yeah, that was. I think Celeanas / Aelin is just a little dramatic in general.
Sometimes.
But again, she's 18. Yeah. I was dramatic at 18. I mean, I didn't kill people, but
I think it shows, having read more of the book, it's actually, I mean, it makes sense. Like, she is young, and you can kind of see the progression of her character and her maturity level over time.
Yeah, she does definitely grow up as they go along. I kept getting this confused with Shadow and Bone because the Shadow and Bone girl has a cut on her hand too that reminds her to do things, and so does Aelin. I was like, wait. There are a few similarities where I was like, wait a second.
And their names are similar too. Shadow and Bone's Elena, yeah, right?
Elena. Aelin. And she have like a cut on their hand.
I don't like Shadow and Bone girl though.
No, I thought she was whiny.
Yeah. Her and Kale should get together. They could just whine all the time.
That would be hilarious. Overall, Crown of Midnight, good book, great book. We would recommend it. But it's one to where like Throne of Glass is good, Crown of Midnight's a little better, and then it's just like
and you're sucked in.
Yep,
your life consists of only Throne of Glass.
Yeah. Yep. Plan on not sleeping very, very much, you know? Maybe going into work a little late.
I will say that as like a little hook for you, even by Crown of Midnight, you haven't met my favorite characters in the series. So
yeah, right.
Keep reading, and like it just continues to like grow and become even a bigger story with more twists and turns and a lot of interesting characters and like fey creatures and things like that.
Yeah.
I have to admit, like the later books, I didn't think that I would get so into like the side stories and side characters, but I'm like so invested in them too. And they're just as interesting as Aelin right now.